Hey guys, welcome back, Bushcraft family, with another video. And today we're going to talk about something that a few people have reached out to me and talked a bit. Some of the things that scare them. I would say worry them when there is talk about a shift or, EMP or anything like that. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. A lot of talk about EMP attacks and things like this. We are getting airplanes and, equipment, and it's being moved out all over the place. I'm not going to talk too much about that because I'm still getting information. I've got sources that have told me that we are getting some older planes, fighter planes, those type of things, into service now. So I'm still waiting for more information on that. So that's about as far as I'm going to talk about that. Same thing with tanks and other vehicles. But what I wanted to talk about, martial law. Yeah, probably shouldn't talk too much about this, but martial law is a thing. And it's one of the things that kind of frightens a lot of people because they don't know what to do during this time. And most of the time, martial law doesn't last very long. It only lasts as long as the crisis, until the crisis is resolved. But in some cases, like say an EMP, we could be without power and whatnot for months or years. So martial law would be until that was resolved. So what to do? Places to hide. I came up with the basic things that you would think of, and most of us already know this stuff, but there may be some out there that don't know the best places, to hide, what to do, and all that stuff. And why is martial law a threat to preppers? That's one thing we need to know, For the most part, the majority of preppers are law-abiding citizens, so they don't need to fear as much as others. However, local military commanders would be able to confiscate your food, your water, your supplies, medical protection stuff. Yeah. So that could be an issue right there alone, because that's your livelihood. That's what you're going to protect and make sure your family's fed and all that stuff. And yeah, as preppers, we spend a lot of time, a lot of money gathering supplies, food, medical, all that stuff. Well, we should. I'm sure there's some slackers out there and whatnot, but yeah. So now there have been some instances that hoarding which is different than prepping. But there are some preppers that go too far into the hoarding part of it, where they'll go in and buy everything on the shelf, not leaving anything for anybody else. That is hoarding, and it is discouraged, and it's sometimes it's outlawed. So that may be a way that your supplies would get removed and things like that. So let's get started. Stay where you are. I always bugging in. Yeah, even though I got a bug out bag, and I'm probably better off out in the wilderness by myself. Sometimes I mean, all your supplies are there. You know your house. You know your property. You probably have security of some sort set up. So it's best to keep everything there, and it's best to conceal what you do have. Don't advertise it. Don't go to the grocery store and then start carrying in cases of things and making it obvious. And don't brag to your neighbors. Oh, I've got 20 years of rice and beans and spam in the basement. That's putting unwanted attention onto yourself. But there's always that time when it's best to go out. And some people, some preppers often enough have a off-grid cabin or a bug out location. And one of the best ways to deal with martial law is just to bug out, go off-grid, go to a cabin and everything. Which all seems good and everything. But even if it is our military or isn't our military, they have, ways that they can, they have thermal imaging, they have all the fancy things that they could just fly right over and find you. So the thing is to make it look like you're not important. That building that you're in, you don't have like tons of solar panels, and you don't have barbed wire up, and you don't make it look like you have a compound or something like that. There's ways of growing gardens to where it doesn't look like there's a garden there. There's all kinds of ways to make it look like it's your bug out location is not very important. And our next one is staying with friends and family. If you find yourself you're being pursued during martial law and whatnot, one good place to hide is in your friends and family. Although you could be putting your friends and family at risk by doing so, because if you have a target, you just gave them a target. So that may not be ideal. And then we have the wilderness. This is probably one of my favorite, because I just like being out in nature and everything. Although it's probably not one of the easiest to survive out in the wilderness, because you're not only you don't have your main supply of food and water, but you have to survive off the land and everything. And that can be extremely, extremely tough at times. But if you're a very experienced person for outdoors and whatnot, knowledge of your area, knowledge of the wild edibles and things like that, that might be very good, and probably would be most people's last resort. And our last one here, probably one of the best, maybe, a prepper community. What better place to hide than with your own kind, so to speak, other preppers. But this can also have its own downside. Unless you really trust those people, you could be worse off than being pursued by military and whatnot. And then when, martial law is imposed, they could see this compound as a likely target to take out because of the way the world has been. I'll just leave it at that. You can read between the lines. But there you have it, guys. And it all depends. It's just not, everybody has their own ways and everything, that they're better off staying home. Some are maybe better off going in the woods. Some have bug out locations, to where they already have a good supply of things and stuff like that. But it's something to think about. And as times get really weird, as they are now, you never know. And like I said, there's a lot going on about the EMP attacks, things like that may happen. It's about all I'm going to talk about that, but if something like that did happen, that would be implemented really quick, I do believe. So until next time, like always, God bless.